From music from Switzerland, and now special edition in English. Excuse me, I have to go very quickly. Okay, please go.
Would you like to introduce yourself, like very briefly? We'd like to.
You mean
You're a
okay?
doctor, PhD.
Yeah. So I'm Marco Rocca, PhD. I'm a PhD in environmental biotechnology, and I'm the president of the Minerva Association for Scientific Communication. And but that's not my job because it's a non-profit organization. So with Minerva, we try to reach out and communicate science to non-scientists and in a likable way, so that people appreciate, everyone can appreciate science, and we try to get people like citizens closer to science in this world where science is everywhere, is in everything we do and everything we say, and it's really important to have a basic understanding of what science is, where is the science in everything that we do and we say, and so we try to close the gap between citizens and science.
Good. So the topic of today, we'd like to talk about CO2, global warming, and understand the impact that carbon dioxide has on our planet and climate change, and to what extent carbon dioxide, together with other greenhouse gases, which lead to the greenhouse effect. Maybe we'll sum it up quickly. So let us start with a few questions, like key questions that people probably ask themselves. Is this a hoax? Is it like a conspiracy theory? Or is it an actual problem we've got?
Yeah, as I was saying before, so this is a sum up of what we were saying. So first of all, climate change is not, global warming, it cannot be defined a hoax. I mean, the temperature is rising, so the data is not something you can you cannot agree with. It's the temperature has risen at least 1 Celsius degree compared to the average temperature of the pre-industrial age. So the temperature is increasing. What the consensus that is not like 100% in the scientific community is on the effect that humans have on the on climate change, but most of exactly. So but most of the scientists agree that the smoking gun is us. The problem is our contribute to the total amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere.
Right. So you said that if we take the whole amount of CO2 produced and other greenhouse gases, that in fact we only add to the entire amount by like 1%. That's how much we actually account for it. But what's the impact of that 1%? So why is it a problem?
Yeah, the problem is that we are skewing the balance. So the problem is right now that the planet was okay with the amount of CO2 produced by geological phenomenon and normal animal respiration that produces CO2 normally in carbon dioxide and releases that in the atmosphere. So we were in a balance before we started producing so much carbon dioxide, but adding that little amount every year for almost 200 years now has become a problem, because that carbon dioxide was not could not be absorbed by the natural systems on our planet that eat up the CO2 and eliminate that from the atmosphere.
So if I look at the production of CO2 and other gases, and I'd like to understand what's the impact of CO2, why is it more important compared to the other greenhouse gases? What's the amount that we're actually producing?
Okay, so the problem with CO2 is that being a greenhouse gas, it can store the heat coming from the sun more than other gases, and that heats up the atmosphere more. So it just an increase in a little amount, just a little amount more can heat up the atmosphere a lot.
So that's the key point. So we're producing actually at the moment 40 billion tons of CO2 per year.
Yeah, and if you think about the fact that this is a small amount of the total produced, it means that there is a cycle every year of a lot of CO2 produced and eaten up by plants by photosynthesis, that they eat up the CO2 from the atmosphere. So it's a big cycle, but adding that amount every year is changing the cycle, is overloading the cycle.
Yeah. So in order to break that chain reaction, that the amount that we're producing, in order to like look at you've got the Paris target, right? So yeah. The aim was to reduce by half of it, like 53% or something like that.
Yeah. So the situation right now on an international level is that in 2015, like something like 190 countries in the world came to Paris and decided to sign an agreement to lower their carbon dioxide emissions by half or even more, with one single aim, which is to stop the increase of the temperature, of the average temperature of the atmosphere to 1.5 degree in the next century. And if we have to go over that, not going over 2 degrees, because that would be catastrophic for scientists. And that can after that. And that was a non-binding contract, so there was no measure for those that did not do anything actually. So it was just like an agreement. Okay, let's all do our part and do our best. But at the same time, in 2018, the IPCC, the Intergovernmental Program for Panel for Climate Change, released a huge report on all scientific literature and what they said about climate change, like what were the causes, what were the possible solutions, and what could have been the expected results if we did not act properly. And so at the international level, these were the two main key points. So all the nations coming together in Paris almost 6 years ago, and this report from the panel, from the international panel, that laid down the rules for acting.
So if we ignore the problem, we act as if nothing. Well, we are doing something in order to. There are people trying to improve the situation. They take steps toward it. We've seen this through Paris target. Well, we've seen that through small steps that we're taking in order to, make the situation more sustainable. So the question I'd like to know is, could you tell us what happens, or like some worst case scenarios if that is ignored? Like you cited that there is this source that you can actually look at.
Yeah, the worst case scenario is that we go over 2 degrees more than right now. And as I was saying before, we can, if we imagine 2 degrees more, like if we live in I live in Italy, and if I have to imagine 2 more degrees, it's not much of a difference for me, because it just means less snow in the winter and little more heat in the summer. But actually, the big problem is that all this small difference in temperature means a lot more water evaporates in the atmosphere, and so we have a lot more tornadoes, cyclones, tropical storms, and so the climate becomes a lot more unstable. So among the solutions to climate change, there is one which is developing techniques for agriculture that take into account the fact that climate will become more unstable. So like growing plants with stronger roots that do not die if too much rain falls over them. So all the things that are listed that we can do are a lot. Sorry.
Well, you could find a chain of solutions that like contributes to some extent, and you can sum them up. There is no actual homogeneous solution for that, although Elon Musk has proposed a price of $100 million for that. If someone comes up with a plan which would decrease significantly the entire amount of CO2 that we've got at the moment, right?
Yeah, that would be nice. I mean, we all hope to find the definitive technology to help us get through this. Like some say it's fusion, like nuclear fusion for energy, for clean energy. Some say it's running on batteries, like electric cars and stuff like that. But problem is that we always have to look at how we produce that electric energy and stuff. So it's probably not going to be just one solution, one big solution that is going to make the difference. Or maybe it is, but it doesn't look like it's going to be like that.
Several different steps. And could you tell us maybe about the data that we've got? Like what proof do you have as for global warming? And well, we've seen that we see the trends, we can plot the graphs, we can see that the temperature is increasing, but what proof do we have that that's because of us or because of CO2 which is produced by us?
Well, we can detect the fact, we can spot our CO2 in the atmosphere and differentiate between the CO2 that we create and the CO2 that is created by geological phenomena like volcanoes and stuff like that, because the carbon into the carbon dioxide that we produce with fossil fuels is mostly carbon 12, which is a different kind of carbon compared to the one in the Earth crust. And so we see that the carbon which is accumulating in the atmosphere is the one that was in fossil fuels that we are burning. So not only we have the smoking gun in this situation, but like we see the bullet coming from the gun. It's all under our eyes.
So just to cite again what we've spoken about, like the example of decreasing by, for instance, eating less meat, like so vegans or vegetarians, how much they're contributing, or rather than that, just give birth, give less births if you want. So try to reduce the population.
There are many proposed solutions, as you were saying, to reducing climate change and carbon dioxide emissions. And as I said before, there is not just one solution. There is a lot we can do, but I would say that something drastic like reducing the amount of children we produce is something probably like among the last thing we can think of. I mean, most of the Western countries have a natality, a birth rate that is like 1 or something like that. So we should not be, well, as Western countries, we should not probably worry about that. There is a lot of stuff we can do. Well,
number one, right?
The easiest thing is probably eating less meat, but not even removing meat from our diet completely. Just even lowering the amount of meat we eat, especially cow meat, it would help, because as I was saying before, most of the carbon dioxide which is produced by human activities is produced for energy, but also agriculture. And most of the agriculture is performed to feed the animals that we eat. So in the end, a lot of the CO2 we produce is produced because we have to feed our cows and pigs and chicken. So if we reduce the amount of meat we eat, just a little amount, we can reduce a lot of agriculture.
Great. So I've got like Dr. Luca Valentino is asking, or it's just a remark. So I'd like to read that. I got a message. So anyway, my conclusion on global warming is that we have no hope in reducing the CO2 emissions. We should do our best, but also prepare for the impact and create funds to promote new technologies which could help reducing emissions, but also aim at helping people who will be impacted by the damages created by climate changes. Well, I think geoengineering, so rather than just moving to a different planet altogether, that could be also solutions. I don't know about Elon Musk was thinking about Mars. Exoplanets is also like a very good field, you know, for looking for Earth number 2.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you're watching the web series The Expanse on Amazon. So the humanity has expanded throughout the solar system, and we have colonized all the possible rocks floating in the solar system, and so we are spreading in the galaxy, and that it comes. I mean, would be cool if we could do that.
Yeah, I think so. So we're reaching the end, apparently. Oh, time flies.
Okay, thank you very much, Jocelyne. Zofia, thank you very much. Marco Rocca.
Not Mario.
Col passaporto in Italia per salutare i nostri ascoltatori. L'appuntamento naturalmente è per venerdì prossimo, come tutti i venerdì, dalle ore ormai 21:30, anche perché prima si possono fare anche un po' di fuori onda, la gente si diverte moltissimo, i nostri ascoltatori, a sentirci, sì, di che cosa parliamo dopo? No, aspetta un attimo che preparo questo, ogni tanto capita, è carino, però diciamo, la base di tutto è per venerdì sera dalle 21 fino alle ore 24. Ebbene, dottor Marco Rocca, avremo ancora il piacere di vederti, questo lo decidi? Sì?
Ben volentieri, per venerdì prossimo non vi posso dare conferme assolute, però tornerò ben volentieri appena possibile.
Va bene, poi ci organizzerà tutto Jocelyne Zofia, che ringraziamo. Se Jocelyne c'hai un minuto per dire tutto quello che devi dire.
Sotto pressione, non riesco.
Benissimo, hai già detto tutto. Allora salutiamo i nostri ascoltatori, diamo appuntamento per venerdì prossimo, come detto, dove ci preparerai ancora altre sorprese, altri argomenti, e una buona notte con Golden Knight, il nostro grandissimo, bravissimo Golden Knight, che ci terrà compagnia fino alle 7 di mattina con la sua voce suadente e sensuale, vero? E allora vai. Dicevi, Jocelyne?
Sì, avrei qualcosa da dire. Prima di tutto che metto dei pezzi su YouTube, quindi per quelli che non ascoltano adesso cercherò di fare dei beats con Fundamental Super Beats, che è il mio blog che vorrei ancora lanciare, non ho ancora lanciato, ma ci farà un sottoblog dove ci metto queste conversazioni o gli estratti perlomeno, e ce l'ho uno già su YouTube, sul mio channel, Jocelyne Zofia in realtà, ripeto da te, e poi di guardare Minerva, appunto, ripeto, questa associazione di divulgazione, perché sono le fonti scientifiche di quello di cui abbiamo parlato oggi, tra cui ci sono altri temi dove possiamo guardare l'evoluzione 5G, per esempio, tanti altri temi scientifici interessanti che possono rispondere alle domande di tanti probabilmente ascoltatori e anche non solo. E inoltre saluto anche tutta il mondo degli scienziati che fanno un duro lavoro per cercare di contribuire a un brighter tomorrow.